Here we are, folks.
Yeah.
We are back with Barn2. And for those of you that don't know me, Tracy Lawrence and founder of Lifetime Tech Deal Fans. Francisco's here, who's taking leadership on growth with LTDF. And we have Katie back. Katie is one of the founders of Barn2. And just at the highest level, Barn2 is our current offer. They have 18 WordPress plugins. A bundle of them are focused on WooCommerce, and they have some other specialty plugins. Today, we're really going to be talking about some of the ways that one of the things that I'm super interested in is their product table for WooCommerce. So Katie's going to walk us through that. And for those of you that do wholesale, we're going to touch on the use case for wholesalers as well through this. But before we launch over there, I just want to give a shout out to Katie and the team, because there were a lot of questions on the first live. For example, hey, we originally launched with a 20 site option for each of the plugins. So 18, the all access has 18 plugins that you can use on 20 sites when we launched. And so you don't have to put all 18 on the same 20 sites, but you've got a maximum of 20 installs for each of the plugins. But a number of people you're kind of a big deal in the WordPress space, I found out, Katie. A lot of people knew Barn2 and were pretty excited to see it here. And so a number of people said, well, how do I get more? How do I get a 50 site license? So Katie and her co-founder responded very quickly with that option. Now, truthfully, this is not with an all access, 20 license package. This is not something that's a cup of coffee at a price point. This is something that's an investment because you see yourself, if you're a developer or an agency, you make money off of these. But they have put in a 3-pay plan. That's trying to say that fast, Katie's not easy. So that you can split it into 3 payments. The other thing that they've done is made it clear that you can buy individual plugins. Like if you don't have a WooCommerce site, they still have, their documents, and we'll be showcasing all of these different things in different ways through the deal. But they've been really responsive in listening to, folks saying, hey, I love this, but how do I do this? Anyways, Katie, I'm going to hand it over to you. How's the first bit been for your team? Like you got amazing people.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. The questions have been amazing because when Francisco told me that you hadn't done a WordPress specific deal before, I wasn't sure how many people in your audience would be interested in WordPress. But actually, you have tons of power users, and Francisco was obviously right to bring WordPress into the group. So there's been really intelligent questions from people that are obviously very, very in with WordPress and know exactly what they're doing, lots of WordPress agencies and so on. So it's been interesting and learning as well, seeing what people are saying about the company, which has been really positive and things like that. So it's been really interesting experience so far. Oh, and the other thing to mention that has changed with the deal is that we have said we've added a 50% off future plugins, because a few people, because we've, like I said on the first call, we've never done lifetime all access pass before. And the reason is because our normal all access pass includes future plugins and you have to pay every year. So that's not too much of a risk for us. But we don't know what's going to happen in the future and what the value of the plugins will be. So we weren't able to do that for lifetime. And this is the first time we've offered all access lifetime, but we had to cut out future plugins for that reason. Yeah. So what we've done instead, in response to feedback, is offer a 50% discount off any future plugins that we release. That. So that helps people stay within the Barn2 club, as it were, keep using our plugins that aren't released yet at a better price.
And it future-proofs the deal. What people don't want to do is sort of have, there's a lot of stuff in one ecosystem and then go, oh man, the cool stuff's out.
Yeah, and then it's too expensive or something when we release something new that's compatible with all our existing plugins. And I understand that would be frustrating. So hopefully this is the right balance for everybody.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Katie. And I appreciate your team doing that, because, it does require some maneuvering on the back end to sort of figure out how to set these lifetime deals up when they're not.
Yeah, my web guy's been amazing that looks after our website. Yeah.
What's his name?
Paul. He's in the US.
Paul. So shout out to Paul. Paul in the US. Katie, I'm wondering if I can hand it over to you and your screen share, because I know that with WordPress, people want to see how some of these things operate. In particular, the product table is a really unique way Woo's got some strengths in how they present things, but there's some things it doesn't do, and you've educated me on that. But I'm wondering also, can you touch a little bit on the back end? Because our WordPress group, they're certainly, interested in what their customers, customers will be seeing and that sort of thing. But just, how easy is it to work with, and what's upcoming in each of these? Can I just hand it over to you to take the wheel?
Sounds good. So WooCommerce, I'm going to screen share.
Perfect.
So entire screen, window will do. Right, here we go. And I'll go straight to there. So you can see that okay?
It's not showing for me. Oh, there it is now. Yeah, now you just have to get rid of me.
Oh, okay. Right.
No, I'm not sure. There we go.
Okay, so WooCommerce product table, well, until recently when it was overtaken by another plugin, it has always been our best-selling plugin. It was originally launched in 2016 after we had a generic table plugin, and we got loads of requests for a WooCommerce table plugin. And so we released product table, and it has always been, until, like I said, recently when it was taken over, our most popular plugin. And it's sold, it's like well over $1 million lifetime sales. It's a big plugin used on thousands and thousands of websites all over the world. And the reason it's so popular is because it's so diverse. It's useful for a lot of different types of websites. So I'll go to the demo. So it basically takes your products, which you add using WooCommerce, and it displays them in a table. But what is a table? Well, a table can be all sorts of things. You can, if you just want a list of products, it is a product list view. It's also an order form, and that's probably its most important use, because normally in WooCommerce, the products are displayed with a lot of space for each product. You've got like a grid with maybe 3 per row, and you can only see a few on the screen at once. You might have an add to cart button on the shop page, but it's not much use because you can't choose quantities. And if it's a variable product, you also can't choose variations. So to do that, you have to go to a separate page for every single product that you want to read the description, choose variations, quantities, etc. So the beauty of the product table is that it puts everything onto a one-page order form. And it, first of all, makes it easier to find. So here we've got like filters, and you see you can just quickly narrow it down by multiple criteria. It's got a search box which you can use to find things more quickly, and it just instantly updates. So first of all, it makes it really quick and easy to find your products. And then once you've found what you want, then you can quickly choose quantities and add to the cart, either by clicking a button or a checkbox. You can also choose variations. And then you can just click a single button to add them to your cart. And as you can imagine, that is a lot quicker than having to visit a separate page for every product. So that's why it's so popular, because it transforms your product list into a one-page order form and speeds up shopping. And as everybody knows, the faster shopping is, the more conversions you get, the better your conversion rate. So in the back end, I'll go there now. There's a couple of ways to use it. So the settings are just in the usual WooCommerce settings area. You don't need to remember this because we've got tons of documentation and videos. The purpose of this is just to show you how the plugin works, to see if you like it. So on the product table settings page, the easiest way to use it is just to tick any or all of these boxes. So all of these are your standard WooCommerce shop pages. So you've got the main shop homepage. You've also got things like categories and tags and so on. So you can tick as many of those as you want, and that will just replace your standard layout with the product table, dead simple. And in addition to that, you can use a shortcode, which it mentions here. So even all the documentation links are even on the settings page, so you just can't get lost. You can use a shortcode to list products anywhere. So let's say you have a blog post of products that you're reviewing. Well, you could just add a shortcode within your blog post, and there are various shortcode parameters that you can use to choose which products to display. So if you're reviewing the latest hoodies, then you can just list hoodie products or something like that. again, with the buy buttons and everything directly in that blog post. So there's lots of reasons to use the short code, as well as automatically displaying it throughout your store. Also, a lot of sites don't want product tables everywhere. They might just want it for a certain type of product. So let's say you have a normal shop, and as part of that, you have a build your own product section where you want the order form layout so that people can, like, I don't know, choose a box for their gift basket, then choose the fillings, and then choose fancy wrappings. You might just have a short code on a page, or probably 3 short codes in that case, each displaying the different types of products. So tick, 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 what basket do you want, what in it, what contents, and so on. So lots of reasons to use the short code. We also have a free Gutenberg block plugin, which is just available on WordPress.org, which works with WooCommerce product table. And that allows you to build a table using a Gutenberg block. And separately to that, we're currently building a table generator, which isn't released yet. But if you get the plugin now, you'll receive that in the coming months in a future update, of course. And that will create a more visual way again to build a table, and then you can insert it into Divi, Elementor, whatever, instead of having to work with short codes yourself. So those are all the ways you create the product table. And I'll just skim through the options as well. So you can choose what columns of information to have in the table, like the short description, the stock info, the price, whatever. There's tons of columns available. It even supports custom types of data like custom fields and taxonomies. You can choose how it's loaded. So if you can actually show like 100,000 products in the table if you enable the lazy load option, because it just loads one page of the table at a time. And that's a lot of really big stores use WooCommerce product table because of that option that allows you to make it really, really interactive without performance problems. And you can choose things like whether you want add to cart buttons or checkboxes or both, how you want your variations to work. You can have drop downs like I showed you a minute ago, or you can even list each variation on a separate row as if it was a product, but it's actually a variation, and adding your filters and stuff like that. So tons of options. It's very, where's the documentation? I'm sure I opened that somewhere. There it is. There's a lot of documentation, so you can just keep it dead simple and set it up in a few minutes, or you can really delve in, and there's developer documentation and all sorts. So it's very well documented, and you can get as deeply into it as you want to, basically. So I think that's about it. We have a short showcase for product table. You can access this from a link at the bottom of the plugin sales page. And this is examples of real websites that use product tables. So I don't know how well you can see these, but I could click on a few. So like this one is a beer shop, which uses product tables to create a beer order form. So there's a bigger screenshot of them. So that's one use case. There's training courses here listed for a school. There's examples of it being used with our other plugins. So this is a screenshot of, I can't hover over it while I'm talking about it because it covers it, but it's our WooCommerce Quick View plugin with a product table in the background. So they've clicked on Quick View buttons in the table to open up our Quick View plugin and provide even more product information without having to access the single product page. Oh, this is a good example of a build your own site like I was talking about a minute ago, where you select a hamper and the contents. So the showcase is a good way to get inspiration and see how people use it. So back to you, Tracy.
I love that seeing these things in real life, Katie. You know, it's I think sometimes we talk about products sort of in the abstract and, you know, what it can do, but actually seeing it do things. You know, one of the things I, as you know, I have not until I met Katie, loved WordPress, just because I found it hard to use. But it is interesting, quantities and giving people more options on one page. For example, I run an academy, and the ability to list all of my courses and have a city, for example, be able to put 25 learners in is something that is more complex than it should be in a lot of plugins. And, the fact is, I can see that if I laid out everything that was their option in a pricing table, Katie, and it might be something that I don't direct everybody to, but I put my corporate clients to, I know that they'd pick up 5 licenses for the time management. I know that just seeing all that we had to offer would increase our sales instead of having to hop from sales page to sales page. Because sometimes on your site, they're already sold on you. And then it's just a question of, like, when you walk into a store, they don't just show you 2 products. You see everything the store has to offer in a physical store. What I like about this product table is being able to list more of the things we have, so that if they already think that we're smart, they can, choose a bunch of things and make it one payment. I love that.
Yeah, I'd say it's particularly suitable when you have a lot of products, as you say, because of that list format. If you've got a shop with 3 products, there isn't really any point.
Yeah.
That might
We've
still
got
work if you're doing
courses.
the configurator or the build your own thing, but generally I'd
Yeah.
recommend it for shops where people do need to make those comparisons on the page.
We've got 25 courses, and it's extraordinarily hard to walk people through a purchasing decision when it's a single, so excellent. Francisco.
Yes, I got a few questions for you, Katie. Be ready, because we got no, I'm joking. We got a few hardcore users, of course. So, for instance, in WordPress, sometimes there are challenges with scalability. So one of the questions is, how will be the performance if I have thousands of products on my store?
Well, that's when you need to enable the lazy load option, because that loads one page at a time. So let's say you have a table with 25 products per page, and at the bottom you've got pagination with loads and loads and loads and loads of links, because there's thousands of products in total. If you enable lazy load, it will just load those 25 at once. The search and the filter still works. There's a couple of small limitations because of the way WordPress indexes data, but a lot of key fields, WordPress indexes behind the scenes in a certain way that we can instantly access that data despite not having loaded all the products in the table yet. So quite a lot of work has gone into that to analyze how WordPress indexes things and all that, and so that we can make lazy loaders really effective, order form, searchable, filterable, while still only loading one page at a time.
Awesome. No, also,
what I'm hearing you say is that speed is critically important to you and your team, and that's something you continue to focus on.
Yeah, particularly for product table, because by definition, you're displaying more data per page than a normal WooCommerce shop would do. So we have to be very careful of that, and we're always looking to improve performance. And we also, our support often advises people on how to speed up their product tables. So let's say they have a really slow server and they've chosen, you can choose how many rows per page to display. They might have chosen 200 products on a slow server, and then they wonder why it's loading slowly. So we can advise them on ways to tweak the setup to maximize performance, because there is often a lot of data being loaded.
Okay,
perfect.
That's great. That's great. Also, for instance, we noticed the table has headings for the columns. Is there a way to kind of tweak, the labels for the headings and all that?
Yeah. At the moment, you basically add a comma after the column name, and then you just write whatever you want it to be. In our new table generator that we're building at the moment, it will be more visual. So you'll click a pencil icon and just type it, which will be even more intuitive.
And that will be an upgrade part of the deal, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was a bit upset that somebody somehow read it as that, thinking they'd buy now and they wouldn't get future updates of the plugins they've bought. I was like, oh no, you get lifetime updates. It's just that you don't get plugins that don't exist yet. So I changed the page a bit today to try and clarify that, because the 18 plugins you buy now, or just one if you get product table on its own, yes, you get lifetime updates. So all the new features we add to that plugin in future, including the table generator, you get.
Yes, awesome. And what
for those of you who also might, sorry, Francisco, I keep jumping over here. For those of you that might be newer to WordPress too, just a reminder that when you see the styles when Katie is showing you demos, the style is because of the site that Katie's demoing that on. And can you just talk a little bit about styles and how it picks up? Like, this looks integrated straight into the website, correct, Katie?
Yes. So I'm going to go back to the showcase again. Can you see this?
1 second. 1 second, please.
It took a minute to load before. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Right, excellent. So this is a good way to visually demonstrate this. So you can see all these sites are different. They all have a table on them, but they all look different. And that's because they're using different themes. Some of them might have used some CSS to customize their table via the code, but most of them, they've just installed it and their theme has different shaped buttons, different fonts, different color buttons, whatever, different link colors. And so that's why the tables look radically different in the different ones. Yeah.
So we got to give a prize every time I say Montserrat, because that's my favorite font. So I love seeing everything in Montserrat.
Oh, that's what we use on our website. Yeah.
Okay, let me go there. Sorry, I'm back. I'm the inquisitor today. And I have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
We know that one plugin, for Wholesale Pro is also part of the suite. Does it work with WooCommerce Wholesale Suite?
WooCommerce Wholesale Suite, or do you mean our plugin? Or
Exactly.
Yes, because there is a plugin called Wholesale Suite, which is by another company, and their wholesale pricing plugin does actually work with our product table, but that's not what you're asking, is it?
So, no, I'm talking about your plugin. Yes.
Yeah. So
can you go through the wholesale? Can you show us a bit about the wholesale, Katie? Because I know that some of our members do use B2B. Would you be able to walk through that?
Yeah, I will share again. That will probably take a minute to appear again.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. I can see it.
Okay.
No,
so
see you soon. See you soon.
So yeah, partly because of product table, we discovered that a lot of people were using it for a B2B use case. And there's a lot of reasons for that, because a one-page order form is exactly what a wholesale user needs. A wholesale user is familiar with the product. They're not browsing for fun to think, oh, that's pretty, I'll buy that top or something. They are browsing because they sell the product. They're resellers, aren't they? They're selling it to their own customers. So what they need to do is enter the SKU or whatever very quickly and pull up the products that they already know they want to order, enter the quantities, tick, 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 and add them to the cart. So it's a totally different use case. And the default WooCommerce layout is woefully inadequate for that, because that's aimed at retail. It's big images on the shop page. It's expecting the customer to spend time thinking and browsing, which is the opposite of how a B2B buyer is shopping. So we created a wholesale plugin, which is designed to work either on its own or with WooCommerce product table. And if you don't get our all access pass, I'll just go to the pricing table. You can actually buy our wholesale plugin on its own or as a 2-plugin bundle with product table. So they're that closely intertwined that for people buying one plugin, we let them choose both. And we very clearly show them the difference. So if you just buy the wholesale plugin, it looks like this. So you get special wholesale pricing, like different roles and discounts for different levels of wholesale. And I'll go into that a bit more in a minute. Or you get the product table with it, and that's when it creates that order form. So these images actually show the same shop with and without product table, which is a good way to visualize it. So going into Wholesale Pro in a bit more detail, this is the demo site. And at the moment, I'm logged in as a wholesale user. So let's imagine this is the homepage of any online shop. It's got a public shop, which looks like it does with, this is a standard retail shop. You could put a product table on this if you wanted, but we haven't, because we're trying to show the difference between retail and wholesale. So we've got that on the demo, on the public area. And then if you go to the wholesale store when you're logged in as a wholesale user, then you get the product table. So it's the same product, different layout. So you can quickly choose what you want. You can view the SKU. You can search by it as well. And so it's a really quick way for B2B buyers to shop. So I'm going to show you actually, first of all, I'm going to log out and show you the wholesale registration and login, because that's the sort of the first step from your user's perspective. You don't have to have wholesale registration, because a lot of B2B stores add the users manually, but you can allow people to register if that fits with your business model. So it's got a page where you can add extra fields if you want. So email and name are essential, and you can add more. And you can either automatically add people when they submit this form. You can just give them access to the wholesale store immediately, or you can hold it for moderation, and then the admin gets emails to approve it, which is very common in the wholesale, because you don't want to.
Yeah, because you don't necessarily want to give wholesale pricing to anybody who just drops their email. And you want to make sure that they're,
Exactly, yeah.
Perfect.
And so then you've got wholesale login page, which can have the registration form on, or you can disable the registration and just have login. So I'm going to log in now as an admin and show you the back end. Right, so again, it's in the settings area of WooCommerce itself, and you get a whole wholesale area here. The settings page lets you choose the general behavior of the store, which isn't particularly interesting. It's things like, do you want to show prices to users that are logged out? Because wholesale only stores might just want a read-only catalog in the public part, or and then they might want people to log in to order. That's if you don't have a retail shop as well, for example. And you can do things like choose whether to charge tax to wholesale users, whether they can use coupon codes, that kind of thing. The most useful bit is probably the roles, because you can create as many wholesale user roles as you want, and each of those can have different pricing. So you might, because it's not, a lot of wholesale stores have different tiers. It might be based on things like volume, that you reward higher volume B2B sellers with greater discounts, for example. So you can edit your wholesale roles and add an unlimited number, and then you can add users to that role. Each of these is a standard WordPress user role, so it integrates with all sorts of, WordPress user-based plugins and things. So you can choose a percentage discount and that. But the discounts can be as simple as a global percentage like that, or you can do something a bit cleverer, such as, let's go to categories. You can choose a wholesale percentage discount on your categories. So
I was wondering about that. I was wondering if it was across the board, or whether it could be a little bit more granular.
Exactly. It's as granular as you want it to be. So we always code our plugins in a kind of hierarchical way, so that if you just set the global option, then that's used. If you set a category option, that overrides the global. If you set a product option, that, because you can set wholesale and product and variation prices as well, that overrides the category and the global. So we always do it so that there's no conflict. You can just be as granular as you want. So you can do that. And the other thing to mention is the visibility, because some stores sell different products to public and wholesale users. And so you can adjust the visibility of categories to be public and wholesale, or just available to wholesale and public. Because we had quite a lot of customers that wanted to have different products for different groups. And there's various other functionality, like emails for new wholesale users and different shipping methods and stuff. But I think that's probably enough detail about that for now.
Who are the main users of this? Like, I know that this is one of, the products that has a lot of users, but where do you see it? Are there some specific niches where you've really seen uptake on this, or is it quite spread out?
It's quite spread out because it applies to any kind of B2B store. I've seen quite a lot of clothing related stores that use it to sell. They often use one of our other plugins as well, which is WooCommerce bulk variations, which is creates like a variation order form. So if you're selling, shall I show you?
Size and color and
Yeah, I should probably go to that, shouldn't I? So I'll
sure. I think actually I saw yours in the wild. My husband was buying apparel for his, he runs a volleyball club, and it looked like it, and they're wholesale because they are, they're buying for the whole club. And I should check it with you after this, because I think it might be yours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a very common way to sell that sort of product. So this is our bulk variations plugin. It looks a bit like WooCommerce product table, but WooCommerce product table lists different products in a table, like on the shop page or something. This is the single product page, and normally variations are listed with drop downs. So this product would by default have a drop down for color and a drop down for size. And so you'd have to choose red, extra small quantity, add to cart, red, medium quantity, add to cart, like times 20 or something if you were a wholesaler. But with this, you can just add like loads of them.
And see your whole purchase in one view.
Exactly. And then it shows you of that product anyway. Yeah. And then it shows you the total and you add it to the cart. So for the clothing use case, bulk variations is a good add-on as well, and has a sort of different use than product table.
Love that. Love that. I'm just looking at this. So those two are quite partnered up, you were saying, that product table and are there other products that go together really well, like the peanut butter and jelly? I use that example, Katie, and I realized that a lot of countries don't have peanut butter and jelly, and people were like, what are you talking about? So
we just call it jam instead.
Are there others that sort of naturally work together really well?
With
I think
product, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I think that no, Katie, we discussed the idea to do a live show in Fast Cart and Quick View as well, next week. But
so
maybe
I won't go that way for now then,
but that's maybe a good matchup that we'll go into in more detail.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe it's not a bad idea, because what I will be doing in that live is kind of show how to from scratch. That's the idea of the other one coming. So maybe today what you can do is give us a walkthrough in the Fast Cart plus the Quick View, and then show the integration of both. Do you think that we have enough? That was not prepared. That it's an idea, since we are kind of showing pairs and kind of how plugins can work together. I think it's good to do that.
Okay.
I can see it.
So just a reminder while the screen's coming up here, folks, that each of these plugins works well individually, but the ability, especially, if you've got multiple sites, to have plugins in an ecosystem, the odds of conflicts are going to be less. And that's sort of why I'm asking about things working together is, one of the biggest challenges I've had with WordPress is when something doesn't work, I've got 28 different fingers pointing at 28 different plugins. And nobody can troubleshoot each other's. So the idea of staying in, like if you've got a Woo business, especially, staying in an ecosystem makes a tremendous amount of sense.
Yeah, you send a support ticket and then they're like, oh, we haven't guaranteed compatibility with that. And
I know exactly. Or just must be this. Like what I loved about your answer, even Katie, around people having the slow server. I mean, it's a small thing, but I loved how your team, the way you answered was, we'll work to get your server working, not, well, you need to buy a better server. Like,
yeah.
And
that's that as the last bullet point.
You may get there, I get it. But I loved the answer, and it was an ad hoc answer you were giving that was about flexibility of working around how your clients have their architecture set up first, if possible. Because that's one of my frustrations, is that there always seems to be another thing that I needed to do. So I love that answer. I mean, it was a small thing, and I don't think it was even on purpose. But I love the creativity to adapt the product best to what you have, if possible.
Well, that's the challenge of WordPress plugins, because people are using your plugins with, say, really terrible servers, really terrible themes, really terrible other plugins that do things they shouldn't be doing, and fighting against WordPress. And so you need to do what you can and control what you can, and make it as robust as possible in all those random circumstances. And but obviously our own plugins we have designed and guaranteed to work together from scratch and will support. So if somebody says, oh, I'm using WooCommerce product table and the Fast Cart and the Fast Cart doesn't open when I add a product, obviously we're going to fix that straight away, because they're our products and we're
exactly where.
So Fast Cart is our other plugin which adds a pop-up cart, which I'll quickly show you. So when you add something to the cart, or if you prefer, when you click the floating cart icon, it shows you your selections, related products, and so on. And as well as the cart, or instead of it, you can have your checkout in the pop-up as well. so that the customer never needs to access the cart page or the checkout page. They just go straight into the pop-up where they can complete their order. So that's Fast Cart. But what we're talking about here is how it integrates with other things. I'll start with product table because we've already looked at that. So here's product table. I'm going to add a product to the cart, and the Fast Cart opens, as you can see. So that's how it works with product table. So it's quite good combination because, as we saw earlier, product table makes it much faster to add products to the cart in the first place and to find them. Fast Cart speeds up the end of the process. So you're literally doing your whole shop on one page. You find products, learn about them through the description, choose them, add them to the cart, and then actually complete your order without ever changing pages. So you're not going to get lost. And that can have a big impact on conversion rates. And a product with similar benefits to product table is WooCommerce Quick View, which it works either with the product table or with the default layout as we have here, where you can click on a quick view button and that opens a pop-up with more information. If it's a variable product, do we have one here? Probably not, but you can choose variation drop downs and things like that from within the pop-up. And again, it's quite clever because if you add something to the cart, then the Fast Cart opens. But when you've got Quick View installed, the related products in the Fast Cart are really good because you also have a Quick View button. So let's say you think, oh yes, I am interested in long sleeve tee. Well, you don't have to go to a separate page to learn more about it or choose your size or color. You can click on Quick View and all the information's there. There's no size or color because this seems not to be a variable product. But if it was, they would appear here. And then you add that to the cart. And when that closes, it's going to open the Fast Cart again. So we're still on that one page where we started. It's still one page shopping. So the three products together, the three plugins together, make it a very quick way to find products, add them, and complete your order.
Those related products get me. I always am like, oh, well, I'm already here. I'm almost about to give my credit card. I may as well buy that related product.
1 second. Sorry. Yo.
I feel like I should tell a joke when I'm on screen by myself.
Sorry. Maybe Katie. Maybe Katie, just because Fast Cart is very flexible, and we cannot. We had to hide you because the Fast Cart is coming from the right, but we can move that to the left. Or we can use the cart. We can move the cart, the small cart to the left, the
There's
icon.
Two layouts. Oh, yeah, the small cart icon. I don't think it's left because nobody thinks to look for it there. Customers don't look to the left for their cart. So you can have it top right, middle right.
Oh, sorry. I got confused.
Right.
Yeah. You're
so
right.
Sorry. Positions. I don't think anyone's asked to put it on the left. If they did, we would track the demand, but I don't think that demand is coming in at the moment. Then there are also two layout options for the Fast Cart. So you can have it on the right, as we saw, or you could have it as a central pop-up, which has more space available.
Yes, I think that the last product of the demo, the fifth product, was with the parameters, because you wanted to show the attributes in the model. Maybe you want to go back and show that one because it's important for most of the stores.
Well, I'm going to go to the quick view.
That face you make when you don't understand the question.
Yeah, I need to think, where is there a variable product to show you?
Yes. Sorry, Tracy. Tracy, we love you.
No, you guys are smarter than me. I'm just nodding and smiling here.
But it's important because people need to select the size or the weight or whatever. No?
Right. Okay. I'm going to the quick view demo now where we have variable products. I think I was trying to keep the Fast Cart one more simple just to show off the Fast Cart. So yes, can you see this yet?
Coming. It's coming. There you go.
It's on screen now. Yeah.
Right. So this is the quick view demo. So again, it looks like the shop page, or you could have the buttons in a product table. And a variable product you can see because it says select options, which is not very good because you have to visit a separate page. But did I click the wrong button? Yes, I clicked the wrong button. So I clicked the normal link to the single product page, But on this demo, we have a hover quick view link. You can have it next to the button here as well. So I'm going to click on the quick view button, and this is what you were asking about, Francisco, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you can open that from the fast cart, choose your variations, add to the cart, and then it will take you back to the fast cart pop-up. So you don't have to be visiting the separate product page.
Love that.
Click.
Perfect. Katie, I know that Katie's going through a heat wave right now. She's in Mallorca, so don't feel too bad for her. And I'm in rainy British Columbia, so I know it's terrible. I want to say thank you so much, Katie, for your time. I know that we have imposed upon you a lot, and I know that we're going to have you back again, to continue explaining things. Selling 18 products at once is not for the faint of heart, and especially in a group like ours where different people are interested in different things. Just a reminder, there were some really good questions from folks in the group who don't run WooCommerce sites. That there are, the documents. What are some of the ones that I know that we've had some real uptake from even non-Woo people, Katie, on the individual plugins? Do you mind just speaking a little bit about where you've seen that interest from folks?
Well, actually, earlier I made a few references to Product Table not being our biggest plugin anymore. It always has been. But actually, our document library plugin has taken us by surprise in taking over just in the last few months. So I should move back to England. It's 32 degrees there.
It was so beautiful today.
Yeah. Anyway, so our document library plugin, which takes your documents and lists them in a searchable resource database, basically, is now our biggest selling plugin, because there aren't that many document library plugins out there, certainly not good ones. And a lot of people do need to be providing resources in an easily accessible format for their users, whether they're like PDFs or learning materials, audio files, videos, and any kind of document or even link or something, really. So that's our biggest plugin. We also have a password protection plugin, which you can use to create a hidden area within WordPress, which might be hidden events, portfolio, case studies, blog posts, like a secret area of your blog, a secret area of your events website, so people only like your
I love
staff.
Secret areas. Yeah. They sound so like 007.
Yeah, it's funny because there's a lot of WordPress membership plugins out there which are quite very good, but they're a pain to set up because they require configuration.
MemberPress.
Yeah, which is fine, but they're big, aren't they? They're big, heavy duty.
They're fat and lazy, and they're hard to work with, and you need a bazillion rules. Like it's, yeah.
Yeah, and not everyone needs that. So our password protected categories plugin just lets you for each category on your site, whatever type of category it is, you can either just password protect it so that anyone without an account, they just need the password, can type the password and unlock it, or you can unlock it based on users or roles. So you might want to select which 3 users can access it or which user roles. So that's a lot simpler than a membership plugin. And some people need a full membership plugin, but this is the simplest option for those who don't. And that's
I know we've already taken 45 minutes of your time, but would it be possible quickly just to show the document one again? I know you did it on our first live. Marilyn's asking about it, but I know it was really quite exciting for me, having a community site. And one of the things that I know is quite powerful in 2022 is being a place people go to for information is a pretty powerful way to build credibility and get traffic to your site. And, anyways, I don't mean to put you on the spot because I know we weren't planning on this, but I know Marilyn asked about it in the comments.
Yeah, that's fine. So this is our Document Library Pro, which is currently our most popular plugin. I'll go straight to the demo. Which shows this one page shows you the different layouts and things, which is quite good. So it looks like the product table we saw earlier, but completely different use case. So this time we're listing all sorts of different documents. We've even got an audio file, so you could use it to create an audio library where people can listen to audio directly on the page, or click download if you want them to be able to download the audio track. You can have PDFs, Word docs, any type of document. You can filter for different types of documents. You can put videos in as well, similar to the product table with the search box. There's also a few features that are specific to documents. So, for example, we have a preview where you can click to download, to view a document without downloading it. That only works with certain file types like PDFs and so on, not with others like Pages, which might not work in certain people's browser, for example. And you can also select multiple documents and then click a button to download it as a zip file. So it's quite a comprehensive way to display documents. And there's also different layout options. So here we've got a folders view. Each folder is basically a category in our document library plugin, and you can create as many categories as you want. And so it's a different way for people to sort of interrogate your structure and find what they want. And then we also have a grid layout, which we added more recently, which is a more kind of a pretty visual way, where you don't need quite so much data displayed as you might have in a table, but you've still got the key functionality. You've got like the preview links, for example, just like we had before, and the download links as well.
And Marilyn, I know that you have a lot of resources from, different trainings you've done, different resources you've got. And I know that you have, a number of those on an LMS, but this might be just an alternate way to organize and present those resources. Because, the documents is one part of it, but it really is files of different types. Correct, Katie? Like, when we talk about it being document manager, it's not just a pure PDF kind of.
Yeah. A lot of people use it with an LMS. If you just need to provide resources, then you're not really creating training courses, are you? So maybe LMS is overkill and you just want a document library. But if you are creating courses with an LMS, then you might want to, well, nearly all courses have further resources, which might be a course handbook or further reading or something like that, or audios that go with it. So that's where the document library plugin comes in, because you can insert a document, probably not a grid. You probably would do it more like this. So in a particular course or lesson, rather, within your LMS, or maybe on the main course page, you would insert a list of resources. And that's a nice structured way to do that. I've actually been talking to LearnDash today about working more closely with them to educate their customers about how to add document libraries to LearnDash courses, but it works with any LMS plugin.
And I think as a membership, my market is local governments. And so they're often sharing their policy on this or their policy on that. And I haven't figured out a good way to organize and make those available to others. Like they sort of get dropped into the discussion in the community, but there's not an easy way to showcase them for easy access after the fact. If you miss the discussion, you miss the link. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of government type organization, particularly local government, I've noticed, even quite a small level like parish councils and things, quite often buy a document library because they need to share those resources, as you say. And they might do that publicly on their website, or they may put it within an intranet or something that's hidden. And so long as it's WordPress, then Document Library Pro will work with that.
Lists of bylaws and all of those kinds of boring things. But anyways, thanks for asking about that, Marilyn. And thank you for pivoting, Katie, and sharing that. I think Francisco's got one or two last words, and then I think we're done.
I feel like the bad guy coming to share the ads, breaking the nice things. But I just want to give a shout out to the Barn2 designer who did a whole revamp of the deal page.
Call the webmaster.
Let me show you. It's hot. Let me show you. Sorry, I'll take the cameras off so we
can
appreciate. Yep. And then me, tiny. Okay. Oh, I can widen this more. 1 second. Let me see. Oh, yes. Perfect. Okay. Awesome. So first that you will notice, we got only 9 days to go with this amazing deal from Barn2. So now we can see at the very top the details, the breakdown of the offer, the deal for the all access, no, full suite. Now, because of popular demand, we have included the 50 sites license. Then we also can see 20 sites and 5 sites. And the option also added is the installments. So you can click the toggle and you will see the reduces price for the installments. Also, now you now can see on top of all plugins, you can see that the future guarantee discount for any upcoming plugins if any time comes and you need them. Maybe you not need the one coming after. So also be assured that you get lifetime updates of everything are getting during this deal. Of course, support this amazing team, and this is something that you may want to also check. And you get also exclusive partner discounts. I was reading the fine print a bit. They said VIP discounts up to 15 off from Advanced Access Manager, B Rocket, Iconic WP, paid member subscriptions, Profile Builder, Translate Press, Wiglot, Wisdom Labs, and WP Sheet Editor. So I think that's still on top of the perks. And then now you can see, of course, the guarantee 30 days. To have a look, go through all the plugins and then see. And then if you need only one, you can go through all of them. Now we have listed all the 18 plugins are here, so you can pick anything you want. And that's it. Let me go back to you, ladies. I have Katie. I can take off the page. I got Tracy back. And there you go.
Well, I really appreciate people's input, because we did discuss, the three of us, do we put everything on the page? Do we not put everything on the page? And we were worried about it being too confusing, but then we realized you guys are way smarter than that. And so we've put all the options there so that people can make an informed choice about what works within their business. And so there's a wide range of different ways to do this. And if you're not sure, just in the same way as people did in the group, if you're not sure what you need or what's a fit for your business, don't hesitate to drop that question into the group. Like, hey, this is the kind of business I run. I use this. Is this for me? Because one of the things we really always want to make sure, and this is really aligned with Katie's approach in her business, is we want to make sure that the people that are buying our tools, that it's the right tool for them and their business. And so we'd rather, this is not about selling things to people that they don't need. It's about business people making informed choices about how these tools might help their businesses. So don't hesitate if you're wondering if it's for you or if there's a way to do what you think it can do, because Katie and her team have been right in the group, really helping this. And, you shouldn't trust people because people tell you to trust them. But if you watch the answers they're giving, they're really very forthright about, hey, if you don't have this kind of a business, this plugin's probably not one you need. If you're going to use a bunch of the plugins, I wouldn't worry if there's one that you don't see as fitting with your business, because the pricing on this deal makes going for the 18 make a tremendous amount of sense. But if you're only going to use one or two, that's why putting those single plugins on the page. I really appreciate the extra work to do that too, Katie. So thank you.
Yay.
I think, Katie, you get the last word here, but yes. I really want to thank you, because I know that for both you and Francisco, it's sort of your Friday evenings there. And I appreciate you giving it to the group. And I know for some of you, we haven't been doing North American times. It's the one, sort of our normal evenings, sort of 7 to 10 North American times. When we're launching with European-based founders, it's just the one time that puts it smack in the middle of their night. So we are going to be doing one earlier in the morning, which still doesn't really help us. But I know that a number of you are more on the recording, so don't hesitate to reach out to their support as well, because they're super helpful. So over to you, Katie, for the last word.
Yeah, well, thank you everybody for watching, and for Tracy and Francisco being so supportive throughout the deal. Yeah, and so I'll be back several more times if you can cope with that. Talking about more different plugins and use cases, and next week at some point, I can't remember which dates, we've got like a WordPress and Barn2 trivia quiz and a giveaway as well.
Prizes.
With prizes. Yeah.
Excellent. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend wherever you are. And thank you for spending time with us. Those of you watching the recording, still say hi. And don't hesitate to drop your questions in. We'll be scanning those as well. Take care, folks.
Take care. See you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.